Hello everyone, welcome to Backbenchers Coding. In this Android tutorial, we will learn layouts used in Android and its types. So what is a layout? A layout defines the usual structure for a user interface. It is divided into two types. The first type is linear layout. A linear layout arranges its components in a single row or column. Linear layout is divided into two subcategories: vertical orientation, in which all the elements used such as buttons, text boxes, etc. are placed vertically in a single column. The next subcategory is horizontal orientation, in which all elements are placed horizontally in a single row. Let us see the second type of the layout, which is relative layout. A relative layout is a view group that displays its components in a relative position. Now let us see an example of each of these layouts. In vertical orientation, all the buttons are placed vertically in a single column, whereas in horizontal orientation, all buttons are placed horizontally in a single row. Next, we have an example of relative layout. Here, button 2 is placed below button 1, and the relative position of button 3 is below button 1 and to the right of button 2. So now, let us practically implement these layouts in Android Studio. Open Android Studio and start a new Android Studio project. Give it a name, Android Layouts. Give it a company domain and a project location as well, and click on Next. Select phone and tablet and click on Next. Select empty activity and click on Next. Here the activity name is main activity. Uncheck this checkbox of generate layout file and click on Finish. Now after our project has been launched, let us start our virtual device or emulator. Go to Tools, Android, AVD Manager and click on this play button. So our emulator has been launched. Now go to Android Studio, close this window. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a new directory within the folder resource and name it as layout. So right click on resource, go to new directory, give its name as layout, click on OK. Now layout folder is created to keep a track of all the layouts or views we are going to use. So right click on layouts and create a new resource file and give it the name activity underscore main. Here the root element is the layout name, which is linear layout. Click on OK. So here we see our activity underscore main.xml file has been generated. Click on this text tab. We see linear layout over here, and by default its orientation is vertical. What we are going to do here is we are going to create 3 buttons. So let's create buttons. Now for width and height, we are going to use here wrap content, provided text as button 1. Now for width and height, we have two options, either wrap content or match parent. So let's see match parent first. With match parent, the button occupies 100% of the width of the screen like this. And if we use wrap content, the button will occupy only the space it needs for its text like this. So similarly, create 2 more buttons after this. And change their text as well, button 2 and button 3. So here we are ready with our layout file. Now let us connect this layout file to the controller file of main activity. By the function we are going to use here is set content view. and we are going to pass as parameters r.layout dot activity underscore main. So R is a resource file which is automatically generated by our Android Studio application and contains the resources information. So here our controller has been connected to our layout file. Hit on the play button and run it. Click on OK. So here is our output for linear layout in vertical orientation. Note that all the 3 buttons are placed vertically in a single column. So after this, let us experiment with horizontal orientation. So go to your activity underscore main.xml file and change its orientation to horizontal like this. Save it and run it. Click on OK. So here is our output for linear layout in horizontal orientation. Here we see all the 3 buttons are placed in horizontal manner within a single row. So now we'll try out our last layout, which is the relative layout. So for that we are going to create another resource file. So right click on layout, new layout resource file, and give it a name as activity underscore main2. Change its root element to relative layout like this and click on OK. So this XML file is ready now. Go to the text tab and we see here a relative layout. Like linear layout, we are going to create 3 buttons here as well. So give the width and height as wrap content. Give it a text as button 1. Now here we also provide button its ID. ID is basically the identification of controls. It supplies an identifier name for this view. So we'll specify its ID as button 1. Now similarly create 2 more buttons. And change their text as well as their IDs. Button 2, and button 3. Now if we want our button 2 to be below button 1, we are going to state it as layout underscore below like this and provide button 1's ID like this. And if we wish button 3 to be below button 1 and to be to the right of button 2, we will do similar thing over here. Layout below button 1 and layout underscore to the right of button 2. So now after our layout file is ready, let us connect this layout file to our controller file main activity. In set content view function, change the activity name to activity underscore main2, and our project is ready to be launched. So save it and run it. Click on OK button. So this is the output of relative layout, where button 2 is relatively placed but below button 1 and button 3 is placed below button 1 and to the right of button 2. So if you like our video, please subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.